How's it going, guys? So we're going to be looking at the Crash and Sane Trilogy for the Switch. This is the Switch version right here. Now, the only thing is I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm actually going to be splitting the reviews up because I don't want to just have like one big marathon on this channel of Crash games. So we're gonna do the first game in this series today, and this is the completely redone remake. Not completely redone, but you know, the graphics and the physics have been reworked in this game. So we're gonna be splitting it up. So you'll get a review of the first Crash today. You'll get a review of the second and the third game on separate days. So this is, you know, in a lot of ways, a extremely popular yet notorious game based on its difficulty level. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the difficulty, of course, in this review, as well as a lot of the positive features and the negative. So, guys, stay tuned for the review. I hope you all enjoy this one. Crash Bandicoot is a very hard game, an extremely hard, excruciating game. A fun one, no doubt about it. This is a PlayStation classic that looks absolutely beautiful on the current gen consoles, and I just had to get the Switch version, but man, this is a game that is going to kick your ass up and down most of the levels. Now, some levels are fair, but there are some levels in this game that are just completely excruciating to navigate through. There's temples, there's labs, there's all different sorts of levels, you know, to go through. One of the great things about this series is its story. I like how the villain Dr. Cortex is directly responsible for creating his arch nemesis Crash during a experiment where he tries to mutate a Bandicoot, and the Bandicoot is absolutely crazy. He manages to escape, but he must save his girlfriend, who has also been kidnapped alongside him. I absolutely love this because think about it, if Dr. Cortex had maybe kidnapped a different animal, he wouldn't have been thwarted by his own creation. So I love, you know, that's a little bit of a charming story there. I haven't really heard anyone ever analyze it like that, but I kind of thought back, and now it is a clever story when you think about it. And there is a lot of variety here. You never feel like you've seen this before. Now there's different remixes and everything, but most of the levels feel fresh, you know. There's quite a few temple levels, there's a few levels that have a tribal feel, and then you get really tough, agonizing levels like the High Road and Road to Nowhere. And what is the problem with these levels? Well, there's one thing about Crash Bandicoot. There's something about this game that's very important. And, well, it's a platformer, right? So you really need to get your jumping down. Except it's a little bit hard when this game doesn't really have the best collision. The hitboxes on jumps, I'm going to say it right now, are really cheap. Unless you land dead center or mostly on the platform, you're going off the edge. And I cried foul on a lot of jumps. You have not felt agony until you have played through the High Road. Those levels, you know, these bridge levels, there's 2 of them in all, and that's too many in my case. You know, from my point of view, I would say that having any of these levels is bad at all, but they put 2 in here. And on these levels, you really feel how precise your jumps need to be. Crash Bandicoot, the controls are tight, but the hazards are, you know, are not set up with the collision. It's really not the controls so much. I enjoy the challenge, but I mean, I was like sliding and slipping off of way too many things. It's not in every part of the game, but there's a lot of platforms, and it happened once too often. And this is only really a problem when there's really tiny platforms, except there's a lot of tiny platforms in this game. And it doesn't really become a big problem until later on when the game really starts throwing more, of these challenges your way. They become more common, and you see that, there's really some jumps that really require a lot of timing. And when you line up your jump perfectly and you miss it, well, I would say that is, that's pretty soul crushing. I mean, you're pretty sure of yourself, and it's really up to chance. There's a lot of jumps where you really have to line it up very well. And the thing is, it's the perspective in this game. The camera is fixed right on Crash's ass, and this is why this game was originally titled Sonic's Ass Game, because that is exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing Crash, really up close. And I like that, a nice big sprite. The camera is nice and tight on Crash, but from this perspective, sometimes it makes certain jumps really hard to judge their depth. And when the game starts messing with your depth perception, you really need to look before you leap in this game, even on the levels when it goes side scrolling. And you should always, when you're playing a platform, I mean, that's the name of the game, it's the name of the genre. You're getting yourself into a platforming game. You should probably have your platforming skills honed. That's also something, if you're new to this genre, I would not recommend starting with the Crash Bandicoot remake. You are going to probably hate platformers. But the levels that really gave me the most challenge were, yes, the bridge levels and Jaws of Darkness. This level can go straight to hell, because as far as I'm concerned, this is one of those levels where the jumps start to become a really big pain in the neck. There are quite a few challenging ones here, to say the least. And I don't mean to harp on this, but let's talk a little bit more about Road to Nowhere and the High Road. These tiny little platforms, they are just the worst. I don't know what they were thinking with these two levels here, but these two levels, be damned. They are just horrific in every sense of the word. I don't think I've ever felt more accomplished in a video game than when I beat Road to Nowhere and the High Road. And this is kind of where I started to have a real love-hate relationship with the game, as I really said to myself, can I beat these levels? They are so tough. And after I finished the first bridge level, Road to Nowhere, imagine my surprise when I found out that there's yet another bridge level in the game. And that one is even tougher than the first. And these levels demand precision, as I mentioned before. You need to be spot on. You need to be quick. If you stand on these boards for too long, you're going through them. And you need to do these jumps in rapid succession and avoid hazards at the same time. And you also have to learn to jump on these turtles. Oh, what fun! But as I said, when I finished these levels, I felt like a true champion, and I felt that the game felt extremely rewarding at this point. I kind of understood that this game wants perfection, or as close to it as it could possibly expect. And I really decided that I like this game quite a bit, even though it pisses me off quite a bit. When you finish a level in Crash Bandicoot, you feel accomplished. Oh, but you don't feel accomplished enough? How about going after those gems? How about going after those colored gems? No, thank you. I think I'll pass. I did try to get some of the white gems, but, having to collect every single box, I had scoured every inch of certain levels, and I did get, you know, a decent amount of light gems, which are the easiest to get. You could die as many times as you want in the level. Would you believe that in the original Crash Bandicoot for the PlayStation 1 that you couldn't, if you died in the level and you hit a checkpoint, you'd actually have to go backwards and backtrack through the level to collect all the boxes you didn't break? Well, you know, this time around, they're a little bit more forgiving. They let you keep that progress when you hit a checkpoint, but I had sworn to God that I collected every single box on a level, and then you get to the end and see that there's one box missing. And, you know, this is pretty frustrating because getting to the ends of these levels, it's first of all, these levels are not set up to explore. There's danger at every turn. It's very easy to die. There's 1,000 hazards. So, I mean, that adds to the challenge. You don't have to go after the gems. They're super challenging to get if you want to acquire them. But it doesn't really do anything for you. It changes the ending a bit. But, you know, for completionists, you're going to want to go for it. For me, I was like, I beat this game. That's bragging rights enough for me. And then you've got the exclusive level, which is Stormy Ascent. And if you thought that you were challenged in this game through the normal levels, wait till you play this one. This is the epitome. When they say at the beginning of this level, you'll see a little bit of text that says, good luck, you'll need it. Developers meant every bit of that notion, because you are going to need all of the skills you acquired throughout the game. Now, you could start this game up and actually go right for Stormy Ascent. If you're familiar with the original game, then by all means go for it. But the other thing is, I've got a feeling that some of the people who grew up with the Crash Bandicoot PlayStation 1 game, they're going to be thrown off because they're going to see that a lot of the physics has been changed, the collision is off, and now that the jumping mechanics are now altered because of this, and you have to be more precise, a level like Stormy Ascent is a freaking nightmare. But as much as I harp on this game, I can't help but feel a sense of joy. The graphics are beautiful to look at. The level design's great. The controls are good. Like I said, Crash handles fine. But it's just this collision. So, just a warning, I'd still recommend this game just to gander at its beautiful graphics and see a classic completely reworked in the graphics department, and unfortunately in the controls department as well. But yeah, I mean, I would say go for it. If you enjoy a great challenge such as myself, I think you'll really enjoy Crash. But guys, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time.